So if you're going to use this hvplot library in Jupyter or Colab, you do have to make a few changes. Colab is the more complicated one. So Colab has stronger security features because it runs on a server, not on your laptop, and it doesn't have the same libraries installed. So first of all, you'll need to install hvplot. So at the very top of your notebook, in the first cell, I recommend you put pip install hvplot. That will install hvplot into that Colab notebook. Sorry, into that Colab runtime. I think you might even need to restart the runtime once you've done that. But once you've done that, that notebook should run with it in there until you close it down. And you also need to import HoloViews as HB. So you need to do both of those things just once at the top of the notebook. And then every time you want to show a plot, you need to replace that hvplot.show plot with hv.extension bokeh and then plot. So if you look at this bit of code, for example, I would replace that line with those two lines of code. That just tells. If you don't do this, if you try and use hvplot.showplot, it tries to open up a local host in your browser, and it doesn't work. I haven't managed to get that to work using hvplot.show. So just printing in plot should show the plot, but you need HV extension to make that work. Okay, Jupyter's a bit easier. You can do exactly the same. So you could just use these bits of code in your Jupyter notebook, except it slows things down. So that's not the best idea. The best thing to do if you're using Jupyter is to use pip install hvplot in a command prompt. That will, or use whatever you use to install new packages on your machine. You can use that to install it on your machine. And then in every code cell, you just need to replace that hvplot.show plot with that one command plot. You don't need the HV extension, and you don't need to import HoloViews because that's only needed to run HV extension. So that's sort of simpler if you're using Jupyter, but Colab will work as well. Okay, so what have we seen in this lecture? We've seen, well, we've got no data conclusions. We haven't learned anything about the data this week. We've just been exploring the interactive features of hvplot. And we've seen how to create interactive line plots and histograms and heat maps and scatter plots and bubble plots, and others are possible. So in principle, they should all be possible. We've also seen interactive visualizations are sometimes, they take a little more effort, and although actually some of these were even easier. So doing the subplots was easier in hvplot. But they do give the users many more options to explore the data for themselves. So it is often worth the effort of doing these things just to give users more opportunities to look into the data themselves. Okay, what we'll see next week is really taking this one stage further. We'll go into building a dashboard, which is where we have multiple plots interacting with each other. But that does take a bit more work, and that's certainly less straightforward than just creating single visualizations. Okay, I hope you found that interesting. I'm going to finish there, and I'll talk to you about dashboards next week.